Welcome to Interfaith Connections. I am your host, Jackie Fuller. Today we have on the program Rabbi James Michaels, who is the chaplain of Hebrew Home of Greater Washington. Rabbi Michaels, thank you for coming on the program today.
Pleasure to be here.
Thank you. We'd just like for you to share some brief background about you and your work out in the community.
Well, as you said, I am the chaplain, director of pastoral care at the Hebrew Home of Greater Washington. It's in Rockville, Maryland. We do serve the entire Washington area. People from Virginia, Washington, and Maryland do come into our house. We have 5 buildings which serve all levels of senior care. We have independent living, assisted living, and skilled nursing. And within skilled nursing, various levels there too. Over 1,000 people live in our facility. We are the largest nursing home in all of the state of Maryland. So my job is to serve the spiritual needs of all the people. Now, we are a Jewish faith-based organization. So to be sure, we have a great number of Jewish people. But we have non-Jewish people as well. So one of the things that I make sure is that the non-Jewish people have their spiritual needs served as well. Roman Catholics, I cooperate with the local parish. They come in, they serve the communion to the residents at their bedside on a weekly basis. We also have Protestant non-denominational services on a monthly basis for those people who wish to attend, and we have people who come in and run those services. In addition, I am a CPE supervisor, which means I train chaplains. Most of my trainees are not Jewish. So I am teaching them how to serve the needs of Jewish people, but they're also there to serve the needs of the non-Jewish people, not just the residents, but the staff. We are a very large organization. It keeps me very busy, but it's fascinating work.
Oh. And it's interesting because of the responsibilities. So what was your inner calling? What made you decide to take on such a great role in what you're doing?
It's interesting. I was a pulpit rabbi for close to 30 years. But along the way, I started working as a part-time chaplain. And I realized about 20 years into it that that's really where my most fulfilling work was being done. So it was then that I decided to pursue chaplaincy full-time. I came here 9 years ago as the director of pastoral care, and it has been the best career move I've ever made because it gives me the chance to do all the things I like to do within a setting in which it's really appreciated by people who really need it.
That is honorable work, definitely needed in our community. In addition, are you affiliated with any interfaith groups in the area? And do they connect with your work, or are they through other forms such as volunteering or any other kind of outreach initiatives?
Well, I'm not affiliated with any interfaith group per se. You might say that we're an interfaith group,
right,
because we have plenty of volunteers who come in. We have over 2,000 volunteers who enter our doors each year, and we could always use more. So anybody who wants to volunteer at the Hebrew Home, we're very glad to have you. We welcome people from all faith groups. It doesn't have to be Jewish people to work there. In addition, because of what we have, we work with people of all faith groups. And if we do not already provide the religious service for them, we will find a way of doing it. We now have some Buddhists from Vietnam who are residents at our home. And I was called by their relatives. They wanted to provide some pastoral care for them. Now, I would normally do this myself, except they don't speak any English.
Oh, okay.
So, funny story, I figured, okay, I'll call the local Buddhist association. I'll find out who to send in. They said, you don't just send a Buddhist in. You have to call the Vietnamese Buddhist temple in Northwest Washington. They will send someone else.
Okay.
So I got on the phone, called them up, and they said, okay, we'll be there. And sure enough, half hour later, they were at our door. 2 monks, 1 woman, 1 man, the saffron robes, the shaved heads.
Right.
And they went up to, I showed them where the residents were, and they were greeted by big kisses. You know, people living the monk lifestyle, you don't think of them as being any kind of kissing type of thing, but they were very glad to provide that kind of greeting for their residents that they met with.
Oh, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It was.
And with all these different experiences, how has it, I guess, in your spiritual growth and development, how has that given you a different perspective and any kind of revelations, any clicks, the connections? How did that play in your spiritual growth?
Well, I think the most important thing is that I have always been involved in interfaith work from the time I was a child. And when a person trains to be a chaplain, one of the things that the trainers make sure of is that you can work in interfaith settings. So having been able to come to this setting here now and working as much as I do with different people from all sorts of religious backgrounds, it really confirms for me the importance of working for each other and with each other. Chaplains are supposed to listen to all people. There's no religious background that's required. And even atheists or agnostics, if that's what they are, I'm supposed to be present for them as well, non-judgmental, willing to listen to them and hearing what their needs are, what their concerns are. So I have been confirmed in my deep belief, which I've always had, that we really have to work together to create what I like to call a healthy pluralism, where each religion's group strengthens itself, enriches itself, but works with each other to build a better community.
Oh. And that's interesting you mentioned that, because it ties into my next question, because the younger generation are more involved and active with people of different faiths, and not to say that the older generation isn't, but you can see some of the social challenges in our country or in our world based on not having that understanding of each other and people's culture and religions. So what is your perspective on the direction that's going, or how is it perceived, and what can people do to learn more about other traditions, faith traditions, maybe through a community outreach or any kind of social environment?
Basically just work with each other, learn to be with each other. And you're right. Younger people today, the kids who come in from high school to volunteer for us, the adults who come in and volunteer for us, they're much more open to the interfaith experience. They're not interested in just working with people from their own faith groups. And by working with each other, they learn from each other. I think that, frankly, kids in school have a tremendous experience, at least in this community, with different ethnic groups, different religions, all being together and talking the same language. When they come into our home and they see primarily people who are Jewish and learning about the Jewish religion as they do, they learn more about what our traditions are all about. When our Jewish kids come in and volunteer to work with our non-Jewish residents, whether they be African Americans or Asian Americans, or who knows, any kind of religious background, they're learning about them too. Our trainees, they may come from a specific background, but when they work with each other, when they work with people of different religious backgrounds, they learn more about each other, and they learn how to be sensitive to each other.
Oh, it's just amazing, because I see a lot of people now, young people, they're looking for those avenues where they can connect, and you provided some great examples. So that is very, we do appreciate that. Mm-hmm. And also want to share your book, which an author as well, Flourishing in the Later Years, Jewish Pastoral Insights on Senior Residential Care. And usually I ask with every author the inspiration of writing the book. So just curious to know your inspiration for the book.
Well, I am a co-editor with my colleague from Columbus, Ohio, Rabbi Kerry Cosberg. We together thought that there was no work out there to explain what Jewish chaplains do in long-term care settings. So we set about to demonstrate what it is. We gathered people from all different disciplines, nursing, social work, different kinds of pastoral backgrounds, different religious backgrounds. And we have created an opportunity for people to learn what chaplaincy is all about in a senior care setting, specifically a Jewish care setting. But we also provide guidance, again, looking toward the interfaith importance for what Jewish people need who are found in non-Jewish nursing facilities. I'll give you an example. In Montgomery County, we're the only officially Jewish nursing home. But I dare say that half of the residents in every nursing home across the county are Jewish people. So there has to be pastoral service provided for them. The chaplains there, all non-Jewish, have to learn how to serve the needs of the Jewish people. By the same token, there's no Jewish nursing home today which doesn't have non-Jewish people. So we included a chapter as to how Jewish people, Jewish chaplains, can serve the needs of non-Jewish residents in their facilities.
Okay. All right. And would you like to share with us a section in your book that explains the work you have done and in your outreach?
I'll be glad to. This is the concluding page of my co-editor's chapter. The chapter is called For You Know the Heart of the Stranger, in which he talks about serving the non-Jewish population in his nursing home. But the real power of how religious authenticity can eclipse religious differences became apparent to me several years ago after a high holiday service in which Hattie was present. Hattie was an African-American lady who, before she passed on, was a regular attendee at our Sabbath and holiday services. A student of Scripture and church-going lady all her life, Hattie resonated to good preaching. She knew what it meant to be truly inspired and uplifted by a well-delivered sermon. When the service concluded, she came up to me, looked me straight in the eye, and said, "Rabbi, your sermon, that was righteous." In my 30-plus years as a rabbi, I have never felt so good about a compliment. Moreover, I was pleased that our connection was so close that even though she was a believing Christian and I am a believing Jew, I was truly her rabbi, and she wanted me to know that. On a more personal note, her memory has a special place in my heart, and her photo still adorns my office. Experiences such as these are reminders that while religious and spiritual differences among those who reside and work in senior residential care facilities need to be acknowledged and certain boundaries must be respected, the words of the prophet Malachi continue to be a touchstone. Have we not all one Father? Has not one God created us? In our facility, as we continue to respond to the needs of all our residents, the answer to both of these questions continues to be yes.
Oh, thank you for sharing. And did you have any challenges writing this book? What did you learn overall from the experience of writing this book?
Well, the challenges of editing a book is waiting for all your contributors to send in their material on time. And that is, all my people I've talked to who edit books say that's the same thing.
Okay.
People don't understand deadlines. The challenges we found were basically making sure that people understood what we wanted them to do. We didn't want a particular ethnocentric approach. We wanted a broad approach so that everybody would feel that they were included in this book. We have received many great comments from non-Jewish as well as Jewish chaplains who have said that they have really profited from the stories that we tell in this book. So I'd like to show it on camera. It's available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, and it's available both in print edition, like I've got here, as well as in the Kindle and Nook format.
Okay. And if our viewers want to get in touch with you, sir, what's the best way they can find out about you and your work?
Well, the best way would be just to contact me at the Hebrew Home of Greater Washington. Okay. My own number is 301-816-7711. That's my direct line. People can call me there.
Okay. And do you have any hidden talents outside of your chaplaincy work or outside of writing that you'd like to share? Kind of a fun question.
Believe it or not, I actually did some television work before I moved to Washington.
Okay.
I had a show very similar to yours.
Okay. Thank you so much, Rabbi, for coming on the show.
Good luck in your show.
Appreciate it so much. Thank you so much. And we'll be right back, so stay tuned.
Reston Interfaith has been working for over 30 years to bring hope and relief to thousands of needy families and individuals in Fairfax County. Their social service programs include the Embry Rucker Community Shelter, which gives emergency lodging, food, and support to over 600 homeless men, women, and children a year. The Food Pantry, which provides food to low-income, elderly, and disabled persons. And the Laurel Learning Center, which offers quality, affordable childcare and family services to vulnerable working, low-income families. But none of these programs is possible without invaluable volunteer and financial help from caring individuals and organizations within our community. To learn how you can help, visit Reston Interfaith on the web at restoninterfaith.org or call 571-323-9555. Through your efforts, you can help Reston Interfaith make Fairfax County a better place for all of us.
Dinner makes a difference. Learn more at CasaFamilyDay.org.
Welcome back. Today I have in the studio a wonderful young lady that you may have seen here in the D.C. metropolitan area playing at your local subway station. Her name is Emily Mason, and she is very extraordinary with her gift playing the harp. Emily, welcome to the show. Thank you. For just to get an idea for people who may not know who you are, can you just give a brief introduction about yourself and who you are and what drew you to get involved in music and playing the harp?
Okay. Well, I grew up in Southern Virginia, in Lynchburg, which is a really, really musical city. Just about everybody plays the piano, at least. And my family was really musical. My mom used to direct choir, and so she taught us to sing since I was about 5 years old. And I sang in the family choir, and we sang at the churches and stuff. And she and my dad wanted us all to learn at least one instrument. So she started us on the piano, and I was about 7 when I started. And I played piano until I was about 17 and just progressed from teacher to teacher. And I mostly was doing classical music and romantic type period music. And I really loved it. And the last teacher I had, she really taught me how to turn music on a page into actual expression of feelings. And at that point, I was at an advanced level of piano, and I wanted to sort of branch out because I knew music, I knew how to sing, I knew how to play the piano, but I wanted to apply that knowledge to make a different sound from a different instrument. And I had always kind of wanted to play the harp, but thought it was something everyone else did, or only a few other people did, and because harps are really rare. And I just remember we got this catalog with instruments in it, and there was one picture of a harp in there, and I would always just kind of sneak the catalog and look at the picture, and never thinking I'd ever play. And at that time, a friend of ours gave us a zither, which is like a horizontal, it's sort of like a horizontal harp, but it's really limited, and I learned how to play it pretty well until I got frustrated with it because it wouldn't do what I wanted it to do. And so my mom kind of found out that I wanted to play the harp, and she's always been really great about trying to get us into things that we're interested in doing. And one day she came home with a local newspaper, really local thing. And on the front of it was this picture of a concert pedal harp and this girl. And my mom called her up and asked her if we could just come over. And we did. And I just remember walking into the room. It was this tiny, tiny room, and the harp took up about a quarter of the room. And I was amazed at how huge it was and just how beautiful it was, and it had such a presence about it. And I was just really drawn to it. And when she started playing it, I kind of started crying because I knew that I could play it well if I tried. And I wanted to try. I remember sitting down the first time and just feeling absolutely cross-eyed. And she let me sit down and play it a little bit, and I was just like, ah. But after that, she told us about some people who were selling harp, and they were local. And so my sister and I, actually, my younger sister, we both bought the harp and started taking lessons from the same girl. And about 6 months after that, we moved to a teacher at Sweetbriar College in Lynchburg, and took lessons from her for about a year. But really, what I found out was that since I had played the piano for so long, and I knew music in general, mostly what I needed to learn was just the technique and how to make the harp sound like a harp and not a piano. Because at first I was like, at a piano you play chords like this, and I was playing chords like that, and my teacher was like, no, you have to make them like harpy. So mostly it was just learning technique and how to make it sound like a harp. And after that, it just really took off. And once I got the technique, I don't know, I felt like it was my instrument. Okay. And
so it's like a calling, like when you play, how like they say music speaks to people. Is it more? Was that more like?
Well, that came after. That came after I started playing, really, and that really came when I moved to Northern Virginia, and that's part of how I got the harp. That story is, but I started to feel like it was my calling, my vocation to bring joy to people by playing the harp, and I'm still trying to figure out exactly how I'm supposed to do that, but it's definitely part.
And how have your experiences been like playing at the stations, at the different metro stations, or even maybe if you are invited to participate in a concert? I guess what are the dynamics like with the different audiences and the type of music you played and people's reaction to the harp? Because there's something you kind of see like in artwork or on TV, but to kind of see it right there.
It's been interesting. I have so many crazy stories, and the first time I started, like the first few times I played on the street, I didn't know what to expect at all because I was just playing because I needed the money. And but after a while, like I got really good at playing, and I didn't need to look so much at the harp, and I could look more at the people. And what I saw was just amazing. Like I would see people coming out of the metro look like they had a terrible, terrible day, and I would try to catch their eye or just like hope that they'd notice me, and if they did and they smiled, they'd sometimes look like a completely different person. And that's sort of what woke me up to the fact that this isn't just making money, it's actually changing people in a way I don't even really understand, But it's playing on the street is definitely different than playing at weddings and receptions and things like that. When I play on the street, I feel like I am actively electrifying the crowd of people who's passing by. Like I'm supposed to be infusing them with a joy that they're supposed to go away with. And I feel like a part of the crowd. And I mean, I am too, because people will talk to me. But when I play at a reception, I feel like more like an ornamental piece. And I mean, that's not a bad thing, because that's part of the reason why people have a harpist. But I always feel more comfortable playing on the street. I know, I just feel like another person that people can talk to.
Okay.
So.
That's cool. I think it's cool. Definitely. Yeah. It's a way, a special way. Like music has like a certain bond.
Definitely.
I think that transcends a lot. And like he said, people may be coming from work, they have a bad day, and then something different, you know, maybe from their normal routine going home. It catches their attention. It's like, oh, and it kind of like changed their mood.
Yeah, that's another thing. It's just different. Like if they see guitar, so you could brighten up their day, but just harp is just, you don't see it very much. So it's kind of fun to shock people.
Yeah, it's really unique, and it's definitely like a catch. Just like, you know, it definitely catches your attention.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, wait a minute.
That's really fun.
Yeah, so, but it's I look at, because when I see you play, I see like your style, and it's just, it's like a gentle kind of flow and play, and you seem so relaxed, and it's just like, you know, what makes like that harp so special, you know, when you play it? What's that key thing?
It's hard to say. I guess I don't know if I'll really understand ever, but I've talked to people who've heard me play, people I know who've heard me play, and I tell them that sometimes I just don't feel at all special, because I know that like my technique could be a lot better. I could practice a lot more, and like most of the other harpists I meet are better technically and everything, but the people who know me and when I play for them, they say that there's something special about it, like somehow some part of me is coming out through the music, and I don't really know how or why that happens. I think maybe it's something that God wanted to happen. So.
And where do you see yourself, like if you could pick an ideal place to play your harp, where do you see that?
Like
what location?
Ideal,
like a particular like theater or special event? Have you ever sat back and thought what it would be like to play in a certain, I don't know, symphony or something around that?
I've given a little bit of thought. I really wanted to play at the Kennedy Center.
Okay.
Just, I don't know, it seems like the center of like art in DC, and plus I've seen concerts there, and it was just beautiful. There, I think I'd like to play at the Vatican too, actually.
Oh.
Because I'm Catholic, and the Pope is actually a musician, so.
Oh, wow.
I always wanted to talk to him about Mozart.
Oh, okay, cool.
But yeah.
And do you perform at churches? Like it's such an extra too. You perform at churches as well, or?
No, actually, a lot of people are surprised by that. I hardly ever play at churches, and I don't really know many like religious songs, actually. And I've been kind of surprised at that too. I asked myself, why don't I know more religious pieces? And I mean, for one thing, I don't really play religious music on the street because that's not really what I'm there for. I'm there to bring joy to people. And I don't know, I have played at churches before, but I don't know. I guess the part of the harp that comes from inside me isn't necessarily the religious part of me. It's just all of me, and that includes the religious part of me. But I don't feel like I need to play religious music for it to be beautiful, to be what God wants me to be doing. So I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it makes total sense.
I always try to explain that to people, and I just have a hard time. But
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's a good way to give like insight, and it sounds like also what you do. It's kind of like you don't want to be locked into one thing, so you're kind of like open to anyone who sees your music, which I think is a beautiful spiritual gift in itself that you can give to like so many people, and seeing the responses. You're very well received when you play.
Yeah, and it's been very interesting. Like I said, I don't play religious music on the street. But it brings out sort of the religious side of people, and I don't really know why. Like, I've had a lot of people come and ask if they can pray over me, and I think it's beautiful, and I realize that I'm bringing up the best part of people somehow by playing, and I've seen a lot of really bad, like, evangelists, how they, like, really try to grab you and make you do stuff, and I see that it doesn't work, and so my idea of, I don't know, evangelizing has just been to do it secularly, just make beautiful things and bring out the best in people, because then they'll start to think about I don't know,
Yeah.
better things in life.
Okay, well, cool. And we have to go to a quick break, but please come back to hear more about Emily and her beautiful harp.
Thank you.
Thanks.
It's easy to gain a little weight without really noticing. The same is true for your pets. Just a couple of extra pounds on them can lead to diabetes, arthritis, and heart disease. Visiting your veterinarian is the best way to help your pets live long, healthy lives. Go to petfit.com to learn more, because a little extra weight is a big problem.
We are in our 7th year, Cristo Rey Jesuit High School. It arose from the desire of the Jesuits in the Chicago province to serve the Hispanic community here in Chicago. One of the things that's unique about this school is that our kids work 5 days a month at offices in downtown Chicago to pay for their education. That idea originated here. We got telephone calls the first day from the companies thanking us for sending us those kids to their companies. The companies feel good about themselves. 95% of our kids are the first ones in their families to finish high school, and 87% of our graduates are in college right now. This project attracts wonderful, wonderful, enthusiastic, idealistic people. They have to have the desire to kind of reach for the stars. No one believed that it would be as successful as it is. Well, it's obviously caught on, and we're very, very excited about it.
Welcome back, and I have here in the studio today Emily Mason, DC harpist. Emily, can you share with us your latest CD? I saw on your website that you have a new album out.
Right,
Can you tell us more about that?
I think it came out about 2 months ago. I wanted to make it something different because my last 2 CDs were mostly classical and Celtic, and so this one I actually released my 2 first compositions, actually, and a couple Christmas songs, and so it's a little bit different. And it's got Scarborough Fair on it too, I think.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
And any inspiration with any of the songs or any ones that are your favorites that stand out on the album?
Well, the last song actually is Silent Night, and I arranged that when I was playing the zither before I played the harp, and I actually recorded it on the zither, and I was really proud of the arrangement. So I just put it to the harp, and yeah, that always reminds me of back when I was plucking away on the zither. Yeah, and I'm proud of my my composition, Squirrel in the Trash, because it's supposed to be, it's an Irish style piece, and I wrote it when I was at one of the metro stops, and this squirrel was being really strange. It was jumping into the trash can. It was crawling down to the bottom. I could see him moving down through the bag, and he would jump back up and crawl onto the wall and jump in again. And he did it like 12 times, and I was just laughing so hard. So I decided it sounded like an Irish name. So.
Oh, okay, cool. So with your CDs, in the past, how has the feedback been from, if you have your fan base or any type of, do they offer recommendations or suggestions for songs or anything particular that they like?
Yeah, actually, I've had people a lot of people ask for Amazing Grace on the second CD after I put out the first. So I put it on there, and I have some critics who I really, really appreciate. They come in and they'll tell me what they think of my music and what they think I should change. And I really appreciate all the feedback. It really, really helps. So I hope everyone enjoys my third CD.
Oh, I'm sure they will. And if you weren't playing the harp or even music in general, do you see yourself doing if you weren't playing the harp?
That's an interesting question, because I graduated high school in 2008, actually. I haven't been to college at all. And between 2008 and 2011, I was really, really trying to figure out what I was going to do. And growing up, I did a lot of different stuff and was interested in a lot of different things. So I was actually on the brink of going to culinary school for a while. And let's see, what else did I think of doing? I was going to go to music school, decided not to, and a few other places. So, yeah.
Okay, cool. In addition, I'm trying to think, I know you have the harp. Have you thought about playing, like, in a duet or any other kind of, like, maybe type of, I don't want to say ceremony, but, like, maybe do, what do you call it, like a complication where you're, like, with other groups?
Yeah, well, I've actually played with a group. It was 7 or 8 harps. So it was a harp orchestra, and that was a neat experience. And I've played with my brother John. He plays the violin. He's very good. And let's see. And I used to be duet harpist with my sister. Like, we were a team. We would go around and do weddings. But she ended up wanting to go to beauty school, so she kind of didn't do the harp anymore. And I've played with a bunch of other different people, but not really steadily. And I like playing solo. I don't know. But I like getting together with people occasionally. I've played like at pubs, like Irish pubs, where the musicians traditionally gather to play there, and I actually did that in Ireland too. So that was a pretty neat experience.
Oh, okay, cool. And where would you like to see yourself or your career grow within the next, I guess, the short term and long-term goals? Like short term, maybe 1 to 3, and then maybe something for the long term.
Okay, 1 to 3. Well, I'm hoping to be a stage performer, and I've always wanted to go on tour. So I'll see how that goes.
Okay.
Yeah, and I kind of wanted to be like hardcore musician for a couple years, and then maybe after that, sort of settle down a little bit, but still do gigs and things. And I think I'll always play on the street, just not as heavily as I do now, but I think I'll always do that.
Oh, okay. Trying to think. And have you mentioned about after going to school, not going to college? Have you thought about going back to college, or is it more just you just want to stick with the music? And
well, yeah, college has been on my mind since I graduated high school. I just never had the funds to go, really. And I was so unsure about which college. I didn't want to spend a lot of money on something that I wasn't going to be interested in, so I decided to wait for a while. And I've started to settle on what exactly I want to do. And I've decided I want to go and get possibly the degree in music business.
Okay.
And I definitely am going to take classes in composition, because I know that I'm not very good yet and I need a lot of help. But yeah, definitely music composition and music business.
Mm-hmm. And what would you say to a young person who sees you playing an instrument and they're curious, or they want to learn how to play the harp? What words would you have for him or her to pursue that?
Like how old?
It could be any. Well, we'll break it down. Like elementary, maybe an elementary school child, a teenager, maybe with tweens in middle school, and maybe a college, high school, college. Because I know there's different mature levels there too.
Right. Okay. Let's see. I've had a lot of kids come up to me in DC, and the really little ones, they really want to just touch the harp, and I can see it in their eyes. And, like, I can see my eyes, like, before I touch the harp, and I wanted to so much. And I'll let them just strum down and up. And but if they're really interested, like, a lot of the parents will be like, "Where can I get a harp?" and all this stuff.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I'll direct them to the guy who built my harp, because they're really good harps. Mm-hmm. I don't know if the parent thinks that the child would really love to play the harp, I just suggest that they rent a harp, first of all, and just let the kid play around on it.
So where do people rent harp? How do you?
Well, there are a few different places. There's Virginia Harp Center, for one. That's the one I've had most experience with. And you just call them up, and I don't remember how much it is per month, but yeah, it's just like renting any other instrument.
Wow.
So maybe a little bit more expensive than most.
But that's cool.
And I mean, sometimes they have rent-to-own plans, which is great.
Oh, wow. Okay. And speaking of like when you're out and playing, how has tourists been when they see you play?
Oh, that's interesting. I've had a lot of interesting tourists, like from all different countries. I remember this one girl, I can't remember where in Africa she was from, but she could barely speak English, and she bought one of my CDs, and she was so excited to be bringing it back to her country and to show people. And I've had people from, I think, Peru, I think from Ireland too, and I mean, then I've had people like from Hawaii and stuff come. It's kind of interesting too, because to think that my music is going out there, you know.
Yeah, it's really like you're already plugging into like the international scene, because you know it's gonna go to one place and then everybody's gonna be exposed to it, and then it kind of has that ripple effect.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
I'm just really hoping too that and I mean, when they buy my CDs and they go back, I don't know, I don't know what'll come out of that, really. So,
but I'm sure definitely they're getting a fine work of art. I know you said you have to practice, but I think you're definitely on your way, and what you're doing is touching the lives of a lot of people.
Yeah.
So it's really, I think what you do is very good work, and it's very important work.
Mm. Yeah. It's funny, with the tourists, they see me, and it's funny because they take pictures and they're like, oh, so this is what happens in D.C., you know? And I'm like, well, I hope.
Yeah.
It's like, I hope you tell people this is what happens in D.C. so that I'll actually get to play out here more.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I think it's good exposure, and that's the positive feedback always helps. Yeah. It keeps you motivated, and stay focused on your goals. Yeah. And just knowing that it's like you're just doing so much for so many people and touching their lives.
Yeah, it's kind of scary sometimes, but
well, no, it's in a good way. It's good though. It's a good way. You probably change like a whole day for someone just because they heard your song.
That's something I can't comprehend, really.
Yeah, because they say music is like, it's good for you emotionally and reduces stress. So there's probably someone who had a bad day going home, and they're like, oh, and then totally tones it down probably for the rest of the day.
Oh my gosh, yeah, a long time ago when I first started, this one guy, I saw him listening from far away, and he came up later. I don't remember exactly what he said, but I got the impression that he was on the brink of thinking about killing himself, and he wasn't going to do it. I got such a strong feeling that's what was happening, and I was floored. I didn't know what to say. I was just like, I'm glad you liked my music, but I never know what's going to happen.
And finally, if our viewers want to get in touch with you, learn more about the harp, or even find out about your songs and your CD, how can they reach you?
Well, there's my website. It's dcharpist.squarespace.com, and you can find my CDs, you can find information on where I'm going to be playing, and all kinds of stuff. Like I just recently put up a gallery of pictures of like where I've played and where I used to work at the harp shop. And let's see, there's there, and what else?
You have Twitter? You're on Twitter.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's all linked together. I think everything's pretty much linked to my website. So.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Emily, for coming on the show today and sharing your experiences with playing your harp here in D.C. with us. We look forward to seeing more of what you're going to do out here, and know that all is going to be the best for you as you reach towards your endeavors.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. And for our audience, we will also get the opportunity to hear Emily play. So stay tuned as we get ready to listen to the wonderful music Emily will perform with us on her harp.
I
helped turn my child's public school into a whole new kind of school. One with a curriculum that really motivates kids. One that has extended hours, 6 days a week, year-round. With loads of academic, cultural, and recreational activities. One that has support services like medical and dental right there. A school where parents' involvement is encouraged. Where teachers have more time to teach. And students are excited about learning. There's just one problem. My child doesn't ever want to come home. You can help turn your school into a community school for excellence. Find out how. Call 1-877-LOVE-TO-LEARN.
I knew I needed help paying for college. I've always wanted to be a teacher. I used to make worksheets for my friends to do. No one ever wanted to come over. My guidance counselor told me about federal student aid, and my mom helped me fill out the free application. I got the grants and loans that made school possible. There is a way to pay for school. You just have to find it. My name is Caitlin. I'm going to be a special education teacher. I'm going to live my dream.
the songs with us. And by chance, what are the name of the two songs that you played?
The first is Canon and D by Pachelbel, and the second one is my own composition.
Oh, okay.
It's called A Squirrel in the Trash Can.
Oh, wow.
There's a story.
Okay. They're very lovely, and thank you so much for sharing your music with us. And if anyone wants to get in touch with you about your music or your performances, how should they reach you?
I have a website. It's dcharpist.squarespace.com. You can pretty much get to all my other connections from there: Twitter, Facebook, probably a few others I'm forgetting. If you go to my website, you can find all those connections.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, and thank you for coming on the show to share your gifts with us as well. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. And thank you for watching the program today and enjoying so much that you have learned and experienced from all our guests. And as always, take care and see you soon. Bye-bye.